Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us right here early this morning on a Thursday. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you for the next couple of hours. You know the drill by now, but if you don't, we've got a great rundown put together for you. We got a great show, and we're just another day closer, Adam, to seeing the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And the Patriots, I guess, too. But more important, the Seahawks. What?
I mean, there's another team in the Super Bowl. I know you're all Seattle-centric, and that's your team and everything. But, don't forget about the Patriots. A great story there. And don't forget our man, Tim. Come on.
I know. Sorry, Tim. Well, Tim, the first day that, right after that win this past Monday, you know what picture he had as his profile on the Zoom call, right?
I did.
It was a little, maybe an interception that people know all about.
It's only
not running it on the one. Yeah, nightmares. You know how much I've seen that image this week in the video? I'm done.
Well,
and now we get a whole nother week. How many questions do you think they get asked about that next week? Or it would probably be a Klint Kubiak question more than anything else. But
yeah, it was a while ago. I mean, some of these players probably don't even remember.
Well, they should remember because it was an awful time. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. It couldn't get worse. Genuinely, I don't think it could have gotten worse. So that was awful. But yeah, we're just a day closer to getting to that Super Bowl, and it's going to be so fun. We've got our rankings live and everything you need. If you're drafting, if you're looking at DFS plays, I know you might think it's a little bit early, but we do have all of that. Look at what Tim did. He changed it back. Now I have to look at it the whole show. Do you see that? Well, I can't work under these conditions. I'm gonna go. No, I'm just kidding.
I think you'll be fine. What did you watch on TV last night?
Mad Men. Did you watch Shrinking?
That's why I was asking you.
Oh, Shrinking's back. I love that show.
I didn't even know. I had no idea it was back.
I told you. Well, I told you a few weeks ago that it was coming back.
Yeah, so I saw yesterday that it was renewed for season 4, and I'm like, wait a second, I didn't even see season 3 yet. And then,
you're like, did I miss a whole season?
Yeah, then I saw it was out. So yeah, it was about an hour long. So I watched it last night.
Did they drop? So I can't remember. Did they drop all the?
No, it's one a week.
Did they always do that?
Or I don't know because I remember I binged it.
Oh yeah, you came in
told me,
a little late.
I didn't.
Okay, an hour long. Was it amazing? Oh, I can't wait to watch it. That's like my comfort show.
I'm surprised you didn't watch it last night. You forgot?
No, I have to. No, I'm trying to. You know how long I've been watching Mad Men? I'm trying to get done with it.
Get through it? Okay.
It's. I think I started in July or August when I was watching that.
Damn.
I know.
Well,
it's
football season is tough.
Yeah, football season's tough. So I'm really trying to get through it because I want to. That's the thing. I want to watch new shows. And now we've got. Oh, I love Shrinking. Okay, perfect. Well, now I know what I'm gonna do. Only one episode a week though. Okay, I'll get that done. It was good though.
Yes, it was.
Oh, perfect. Then we need White Lotus back. Then we're going to be rolling. And
there's
then
no date on that though, right?
No, I think they're filming it right now, probably. Or I don't even think they've dropped the entire cast list. I don't even think we know who's in it.
I think I saw some names. But yeah,
I'm so excited for that. That'll be fun. And then you need to watch The Pit, and then you'll be good to go.
The Pit that is one Max. You mentioned to me, The Pit.
Unless you don't like blood or you don't. It's not really a show that you watch to like wind down because you watch it and then you say, wow, I'm really on edge here. It's a great show though. Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Okay.
And the Super Bowl, I guess. I guess you can watch the Super Bowl too.
Yeah, that I think is penciled in on the agenda. I'm pretty sure
that's
about
good.
that.
That's good. I'm so excited. It's gonna be great. Hopefully, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great no matter what. But like I was saying, FantasyLife.com. So we've got Dwayne McFarland, Matthew Friedman has all of their projections up. I was looking through them this morning, and obviously, there's not that many players that you can go through. So if you're looking at drafts, I think it's really important. The tight end position is just going to be the one where what roll of the dice, Adam? So we've got Hunter Henry projected for 7 fantasy points. The Xfinity best score 11.4, and then it's AJ Barner and everyone else. So AJ Barner, he's projected for 6.2, 10.5 Xfinity best score. So that's like the ceiling. The best case outcome is 11.4 and 10.5 for those two. So if you're trying to get, a little bit different in some of your lineups, I mean, Hooper's there, but it's really those two and everyone else. It's gonna be tough.
And one of my guillotines made the finals in all of them, by the
way.
Nice.
Look at you.
But one of them, the opponent had every player reach the finals except one, and my team got destroyed. And he picked up Barner as like a flex, so I had to resort to Austin Hooper as my starting tight end.
Perfect. That's fine.
That team is like toast.
Austin Hooper is projected. You want to guess what he's projected for?
3.2.
2.1. So
Okay, that's a
close.
little
I
high.
mean,
I
Xfinity
gave
best
him an
score though,
extra catch.
3.6. Yeah, he's 1.5 targets, 1 reception. There you go.
Yeah,
That's all you need.
it's a rough position. The one thing you can say with Hunter Henry is if there is any potential liability for Seattle's defense, it has been against the tight end. So you
Yeah,
have
that's
to
true.
hope that's where Hunter Henry can maybe score a touchdown or get you multiple catches.
Man, we've been saying that all playoffs though too. It's just you've been kind of waiting, sitting back, and maybe Hunter Henry was the guy that to step up. But it's just been, and that's what made Drake May's run for this potential MVP impressive during the regular season. Is that Matthew Stafford? It looks like he's just going to win it because his stats were incredible. What he was able to do, but he was doing it also with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and so for Drake May to kind of have all these stats go in his favor, and he's working with Stephon Diggs has been fine. It's been okay. All these players have been good, but it hasn't been this alpha elite receiver or target earner on this team. So that's why it's kind of been fun to watch and see him kind of explode the way that he did with not an elite guy.
Yeah, the numbers for the Patriots in the playoffs are not impressive at all. Again,
No.
they have faced 3 top 5 defenses and they get another. So it's really, that's why it will be amazing if the Patriots do win the Super Bowl because everyone has knocked their regular season schedule and how this has been an easy path to get there. But if they beat the Seahawks, they would have taken down
Oh
4
yeah,
top 5 defenses. And you could say whatever you want. And there will people who still will knock them and be like, oh, such an
of
easy
course.
schedule. But they're underdogs in the Super Bowl. And Seattle, DVOA historically is like a top 10 team. So this would be an impressive win if they can take it down. And I don't think you can really say anything about their regular season schedule anymore if they get through this.
Not if they get through this. It's a gauntlet of defenses. I
Yeah.
starting from the very beginning of this playoff push.
But I will say this. People will still say, oh, look at the quarterbacks they beat, and they'll knock Darnold. Because here's the thing. If Darnold has a bad game and turns it over, that's what the haters will say. Well,
Oh, for
look at
sure.
the quarterbacks. Herbert with no offensive line. C.J. Stroud, who was trying to throw an interception on every drop back. Jared Stidham, who hasn't started since 2023. And then, yeah, Sam Darnold. They'll quickly forget how good he was all season and in that playoff game against the Rams if he has a bad game. So that's
Yeah,
already that's going to be the storyline. And then obviously if
of
Seattle wins,
course.
the Sam Darnold redemption and you know how the
I don't think
Seahawks
there's
turn things
any.
around.
Yeah, I think with the Seahawks, I mean, the Patriots are always going to have people talking about them, but with the Seahawks, I mean, they had a good schedule, and it was just a turnaround. So that's, I mean, and they're favored in this game. So it's going to take a lot for the Patriots, but I'm not counting them out. I get really nervous when, the all the money's coming in on Seattle, the line's moving in their direction. I'm like, okay, like you just can't. It's going to be tough though for the Patriots. And I think, one of the things when I was reading some things last night is that, how Drake May uses his legs in this game. I'm going to be really interested if Seattle, if they're looking to let him run or just make him run because in the postseason, I mean, we have to remember Brock Purdy had 37 yards on the ground. Even Matthew Stafford, what it was 16, wasn't it? It was like the most all
Yeah,
season that
well,
he had. I
because
know, I know,
he had that one run that
but
was
still,
like
if
what 10, 11 yards or something like that, which we never see from him.
if they force May to run though, they're gonna need to keep him contained because we know that that's where he can really take things into his own hands and take control of any game. And that's like last week. I know that when people watch that game, they just throw it out the window because they're like 10-7. That's gross. The defense has stepped up, but it was snowing and all this other stuff. But for Seattle, I mean, not only at the tight end position do they allow some solid numbers, but if Drake May's on the ground, I'm going to be really interested to see how they keep him, contained and just not totally torching him on the ground.
Yeah, they've allowed some quarterbacks to run for yards. I see a lot of games of 20, 30 yards rushing against them, and that's part of Drake May's game. He has 10
Mm-hmm.
rushing attempts in 2 of the 3 postseason games, so he's definitely going to take off and use his legs, and he's going to have to, especially if Seattle's able to generate some pressure, and that's been one of the problems for New England here is the offensive line, especially that left side. So you will see
Yeah.
Drake May take off and run, but yeah, it is kind of interesting. I never really looked at Seattle's schedule in depth. wasn't a very difficult schedule either. No one really says anything about that.
It was kind of difficult. It was fine.
Seattle's schedule?
Yeah.
Nah, I
I'm
wouldn't
a
say it's very
Seahawks fan.
difficult.
I wouldn't say it's difficult.
I mean,
think
you got the
playing
Rams.
in the division that they do, it's
Yeah,
difficult.
that's where you have to give them credit to have that success and win 14 games in this division.
Yeah.
When you had San Francisco, the Rams, I mean, the Cardinals obviously weren't very good, but they were competitive at times. But yeah, like you look, okay, the Rams are definitely an impressive win, and then they beat them in the playoffs, so that's a good win. After that, show me the great win. I mean, the 49ers, yeah, cool. You know, I get it. But they beat Jacksonville, but that was when before Jacksonville took off.
Yeah, that's what Jacksonville was. Not as good. I still think, again, it's the conversation that we've been having for the last however many weeks, even probably the whole season. You have to win with the schedule that you're given.
Yeah,
and I think and I think too, the more impressive part is just, I know that the teams might not have been, top tier best caliber, but still that defense has been shut down. So there was never
except
even
against
a
the
moment.
Rams.
Hey,
It's
that's okay.
true though.
That's okay. I know.
They're like dominant
Those two
and
teams
smothered
know each
against
other
everyone.
so well.
And the
It's
Rams are
so
one of the
fun.
best
They're such a
offenses in the
great
NFL.
team.
Yeah.
Yes, that was on Sunday. That was kind of, people were saying, "Oh, that's the real Super Bowl," because those two teams are just so dominant. And I think you said it earlier this week. If you played that game 10 times, it might be 5-5.
Yeah. I have no doubt in my mind it would be 5-5.
Yeah. So it's just that was so fun. I'm glad they got through that. And
well, here's the thing too. There's no good teams in the NFL this year, so we could sit there and go through everyone's schedule and be like, "Yeah, that wasn't."
It was probably the Rams and the Seahawks.
If we're talking two best teams
in the NFL,
I would
most
say so.
Complete teams.
Yeah. Well, the Rams definitely have weaknesses on special teams and defense too. Especially in the year, the defense wasn't good. They got carried by their offense. Like they're just so good offensively. But yeah, I would say they were the two best teams.
Yeah, and I mean, the Patriots that we saw in the regular season, I think that's also been glaring to a lot of people, and that's why they've been talking so much, is that, hey, their schedule was so easy. They've scored 54 points in 3 games. That's the lowest total of any team that played 3 games before making the Super Bowl. So the offense does need to get rolling. And
you're getting cocky now, aren't you?
No,
okay,
no, I'm saying,
no,
I'm giving you stats.
Right? You hear this cockiness
I'm giving you stats. I'm saying that they have to turn it on. But here's the thing. They know that. They absolutely know that there's something, and they've got 2 weeks to prepare for this game. But the one thing that I am nervous about is that they do have Drake May on the other side. And so that's going to be exactly who they need to lead them to a win if they're able to do it. And I'm curious how they're going to turn things around, though, in 2 weeks, because it has not looked good the whole playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, on the other side, though, their defense has been really good. The defense has stepped up. We saw it earlier in the year. They were really stout against the run. I forgot because I remember just reciting it every week, like, oh, the Patriots have yet to allow a running back to rush for 50 yards. And that went up for a while, and then obviously they started to cave a little bit. But they've turned it around, and they've been really good here in the playoffs. Because, they didn't allow a running back to get 50 yards until Sean Tucker did it in Week 10 on 9 carries. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
If you asked me that stat, I would have not known. And it's true. These two defenses are really always going to keep these teams in this game, because we always say, hey, defenses can win championships. But I'm especially with the running backs, right? Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, whichever you pick, if you're drafting or if you're looking at DFS plays, that's what I want to know, because Kenneth Walker for the last 5 games, unstoppable. I mean, he's just been on this tear where you say there's no question that they're going to try and keep him because he is a free agent in 2026. Obviously, losing Zach Charbonnet is not what you wanted, but he's averaging 122 scrimmage yards per game. That's over the last 5, though. Let me say that with an asterisk a little bit, because that's week 16. 6.4 yards per touch and has 5 touchdowns. And Ramondre Stevenson has also been good. It was one of those things, Adam, where when we were looking at drafts, we just said, Stevenson has to go 1 if we're talking about running backs on the Patriots. And TreVeyon Henderson has kind of been this afterthought for us in drafts, and even in our projections, it kind of shows that he's just kind of taken a back seat for how good Ramondre Stevenson has been.
Yeah, I am interested to see. I think we'll see more TreVeyon Henderson, obviously, in the Super Bowl. We can't really see less. He only played 4 snaps, and I wonder if that was weather-related, where they were just worried about a young player holding on to the football, even though Stevenson has had fumbling issues, more so early in the season. But maybe they were just because again that offense was so conservative where you could tell they're like, all right, let's not turn it over. We're fine punting to the Denver because Denver is not going to move the football. So that might have been weather-related environment game plan. You would think you see a little more Henderson, but he has not been good in the postseason.
No.
It's like, I don't know, 2.4, 2.5 yards per carry for Henderson. Stevenson's been the better back. He's the veteran. They trust him. But again, it's a tough matchup here. And I think that's one of the keys, too, for New England is limiting Kenneth Walker. Again, their run defense has taken back to another level when Milton Williams returned. He missed a stretch, and that's where you kind of saw New England be a little susceptible on the ground. He's come back, and we've seen them be dominant. Now, they haven't exactly faced potent running games with the Chargers, right? Hampton was not really healthy. Yeah. The Texans, who have not been able to run the football pretty much all season behind that poor run blocking. And then Denver with a backup quarterback where you can focus on the run. And R.J. Harvey has not been good as the lead back. So, but, Walker does have a tendency, this, to try to bounce things to the outside. And that's
not going to work in this game.
Yeah, and that's where you can get these tackles for losses, put them, like say they run on first down and he loses 3. Now it's 2nd and 13, and now the pressure starts to build. So, yeah, there's definitely some real intriguing matchups here. And New England definitely has a shot here. I think a lot of people are just taking Seattle, but you're seeing the line is not really moving. It's like 4.5, and money is coming in on Seattle. So there is some sharp money on New England.
You can't count the Patriots out, and I'm, you know who I'm rooting for, but you just can't. This is a Super Bowl. They've got 2 weeks to prepare. It's an even playing field now, and so with you mentioning Kenneth Walker too, because he loves to bounce to the outside. He can't do that with the Patriots' strongest edge, if we're talking on the ground game, is those outside tackles. They're ranked 8th on defense. Seahawks are ranked 30th on offense when we're talking about that. So he's averaged 7.2 yards per carry inside the tackles since week 16. I'm using those metrics because he's been so good since week 16. So you're probably going to expect to see him kind of right in the middle, unless he can break out, but that's going to be a really tough matchup for him. And then the thing is, when you break down this game, it's a trickle-down effect. We have to remember that when we've been seeing Kenneth Walker play so well, that's when it looks like Sam Darnold has felt less pressure. We've talked about him playing with a lead. We've talked about him just looking a lot more comfortable. But I have to equate some of that to the ground game getting going, because all regular season, Adam, all we talked about was how it's just a 1A, 1B situation. That probably their biggest weakness in the regular season up until week 16, week 15 was the ground game, because it just never seemed cohesive between Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Now you've got the ground game going, and I think that totally aligns with why we see Sam Darnold feeling just a little bit less on his shoulders. And it's going to be really important to continue to establish that and, get them in a good spot.
Yeah, and I think it's helping Kenneth Walker get the volume. He's had 22 and 23 touches. And I think if you ask any running back, they'll tell you the more that they get touches in a specific game, the better rhythm they get into. And that might have been a factor for Walker during the season, because he would get a drive, they'd get it inside the 20, here comes Charbonnet, and that has to be tough for any running back. You just don't get into a rhythm. You're in and out of the game. Yeah. So I think now that they do use Holani, right? We've seen Holani come in. I think Walker played 63% of the snaps last week, which was a season high. So he's still not getting to like the 80 level, but he's getting the majority of the touches. Holani had 3 carries for 4 yards last week and also caught 3 passes for 27 yards. So and those guillotines, Holani's going to be a starter.
I think
so I have him in one of them.
Those flex plays are just absolutely horrible. It just and we'll never know this answer, right? Because Charbonnet went down, but I do wonder over the last 2 games what the plan would have been if we would have seen the 20.
Wouldn't have been. I don't think you would have seen Walker get 23 touches.
I don't either. But it's just, and then the other question is this why they tried, the 1A, 1B situation in the regular season to keep, that's the other side. Did they do that to keep Walker healthy for 20 plus, touches in a game?
Well, I think that had to be the reason.
But would they have given it
and because they liked Charbonnet a lot. So I think it was a combination of they wanted to keep Walker healthy. We know that's kind of been an issue in his career, is that he's had these nagging injuries. Remember, he had the issue going into the season as well. And that was like in August, mid to late August, we started to hear, they're going to use Charbonnet a lot more. Walker's dealing with an injury. He'll be fine. He's good to go. But I think that was probably a factor because, again, Walker has missed multiple games every year in his career until this one. So they can pinpoint that and say, well, we managed him well. I mean, he still had 221 carries, which was the second highest of his career. So it's not like the volume was significantly decreased. It was similar to 2022 and 2023. So they can use that and say, yeah, well, it kept him healthy. Well, I mean, the volume was pretty much the same. So, and these things sometimes are just coincidence. Like, how many times do we label a player injury prone for the first 3-4 years of their career, and then all of a sudden they stay healthy? And Stafford was thought to be injury prone early in his career.
Yeah, now look at him with a back injury that made me not draft as much of him.
I wonder if that was even true.
I told you, I think Sean McVay had a couple drafts over the weekend, and he said, I don't know, that back, it's
he
acting
looks,
up a little bit.
he's going to be in the MVP
Doesn't
conversation this year. I need him on my team. Yeah, you know what? Let's just sit him out the whole preseason.
It's going to be a great game. And again, we're going to continue breaking down this Super Bowl, but you can see all of our analysis over at fantasylife.com. Those projections, like I said, are live over there as well from Dwayne McFarland, Matthew Friedman, and they are such a great tool to use. So make sure you go and check those out. I want to get to just the offseason wide receiver market. We've been kind of teasing, hey, this player is going to be a free agent. This player could be on the move. Let's go through the potential landing spots for some of these wide receivers like George Pickens, like maybe one Romeo Doubs. We're going to break it down here coming up next. We are back. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here on this Thursday Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. I can't say much about it yet, Adam, but I think I have a solution to the lasagna problem. But I'm gonna figure it out by tomorrow, and I'll let you know.
When
Maybe
are you heading there?
Monday.
Monday after the show?
I'm sorry, Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday, like mid-morning or something. But I think I have a solution, and I'm so excited to share that solution with you. Maybe tomorrow. But we're gonna be good on lasagna. Don't worry. It seems like. And then I come back too. I'm thinking. Here's the thing: do I need a lasagna for 2 weeks? Do I need one for this weekend and next weekend as well?
No, there's no game this weekend.
Okay, so I
think you're good for this weekend.
Right,
yeah.
All right. I think you're right. So don't worry. I think there's going to be a solution here, and I'll let you know if there is, or if anyone else wants to make lasagna. I think you should make lasagna. I think you should have someone make lasagna for you. There we go.
If I make it, forget it. It's going to be a disaster.
That's why I changed. That's why I changed it. I said, actually, I think you should have, or just go pick it up. I think you should do that.
That's
then
easier.
The Seahawks are guaranteed to win.
I leave it to the experts. That's not
Lucky
me
lasagna.
when it comes to cooking.
All right. Well, I'm just saying. I think I have something, and I'll share it with you tomorrow if it all goes through. And I'm really excited about it. But we are talking not only about lucky lasagnas for the Seattle Seahawks, but there is also questions on and comments, concerns about the wide receiver market, Adam. And that's kind of where I wanted to head right now, is just seeing what our expectations should be with some of these players and maybe potential landing spots. It is so early, but free agency is going to creep up on us very quickly. I think the big one that we always talk about, the one that everyone has a question and an opinion on, is George Pickens. Obviously, with the Dallas Cowboys, it's if they're going to keep him around or not. And we've got questions, not only George Pickens, Javonte Williams as well. He was good for them last season too. But Pickens is at the top of the wide receiver market, and he is someone that is going to be at the very top of lists. The franchise tag for wide receivers in 2026. This is a projection. We don't know yet, but it comes in at $28.6 million. I think the Cowboys have to figure out a way to keep him there because that obviously worked out so well for them. But as the resident Dallas Cowboys fan, what do you think they're going to do?
My guess is they retain him. Now, if they do put him on the franchise tag, then I don't think Pickens is going to be too happy about that. And you can't blame him. He's coming off this massive year. He wants to get paid. 25 years old, too. But yeah, he just was so explosive this year, made a lot of big plays, and was able to get it done too when CeeDee Lamb was injured, as the number one, and didn't slow down at all. So yeah, my guess is they're going to do what they can to bring it back because you want to keep this offense in place. That was the one, bright spot for the team this year. They were able to put up points and overcome at times a shaky defense. Obviously not enough because they didn't make the postseason, but I would think they want Pickens. That he came in there. For the most part, we didn't really see any issues with him. except that one game where against
Except that
Detroit,
one,
it
but
looked
then he
like he
came
was a
back.
little not
Yeah.
running the routes fully. I don't know what was going on that day, but besides that, we really didn't see any trouble with him. No distractions off the field. So I would think they bring him back.
I do too. 93 catches, 1,429 yards, 9 touchdowns. And because I've seen this going around, oh, well, CeeDee Lamb wasn't there. No, when CeeDee Lamb came back, George Pickens was still like balling out there. So it was one of those things where I think that the Cowboys more than likely are going to put the franchise tag on him and then see if that was an outlier here, right? When you put the franchise tag on someone, then you can say, hey, prove that 2025 wasn't an outlier. And then they're going to be more inclined to sign him to a long-term deal. That's how I think they get this done. But again, we've seen teams before, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. I mean, when you sign 2 top receivers and you sign two of the top guys on offense, it's an interesting trickle-down effect with how it affects your roster. So that's also the big question for Dallas if they want to do that.
Yeah, look, Pickens really take away the final week against the Giants where I think he only played the first half and then they sat the starters. He only had 3 games less than 50 yards receiving. One was week 1 against Philly, where we had that, I think it was a lightning delay, because that game looked like it was going to be high scoring.
That's right, yes.
It looked like it was going to be high scoring. They had that delay, and I don't know if anyone scored after that. And then he had the game against Detroit, that Thursday night game where it looked like he just was not running his routes fully. And then the game against Minnesota, he struggled. But outside of that, he had at least 50 receiving yards in every game. And the other thing is, too, that he's not a guy that needs like heavy volume every game to produce. Now, he did have 137 targets this year, but he had 22 receptions of 20 or more yards. So he's like that big play threat. So even in a game where maybe CeeDee Lamb is the featured target, he has the better matchup and Lamb gets fed 10 to 12 targets. If Pickens has a game where he gets 5, 6, 7 targets, he can still put up 70 yards on 4 catches because they take shots to him deep and, he has that big play ability. So, yeah, I think he would have another good year if they bring him in, if they retain him.
Yeah, I don't think it was an outlier. I don't think that we could look back at, unless, things unravel and that's more on the field situations than anything else. I don't think that last year was an outlier for George Pickens. I think that he can absolutely do that again. So it's just going to be, and sometimes Dallas, they do weird stuff.
I'm aware.
I had one of my bold predictions was that Dallas kind of fumbles the bag with him and he goes over to Buffalo. But I hope that doesn't come true for you. I'll say that.
Yeah, as much I'd like to see Buffalo at a receiver, not George Pickens.
Not you're like anyone else. Anyone else they can have. One other one that I definitely wanted to hit, because he's not going to be, he's a top name for us because he is someone in fantasy football. If you picked Alec Pierce up off the waiver wire, he was someone that definitely helped you down the stretch. Of course, Daniel Jones getting hurt didn't help anyone, but Alec Pierce for the Indianapolis Colts, that is a quick receiver, and I believe he got over just a little over 1,000 yards, 1,003 yards, 47 receptions, 6 touchdowns. But it's going to be, I'm really curious what he's going to get on the open market, or if the Colts just look at this situation and say, hey, you were so good for us, please come back, we'd love to have you back, because he really did well in that last year on that deal. And so for us in fantasy, again, if you picked him up off the waiver wire, he made a difference. But to me it looked good. This was a receiver, he averaged 22.3 yards per reception in 2024, 21.3 yards per catch in 2025. That led the league both times.
Yeah, he was really good because it was a slow start to the year, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I can start Pierce almost every single week. He was just making play after play. So that's going to be a big decision because there are some teams that could use that speed, that wide receiver. He only had 47 receptions. That's what's crazy about it, and went over 1,000 yards. Because, again, he just made big play after big play. That was another fun prop. Longest reception for Pierce.
Oh, nice.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
A good one.
He went over it almost. You want to guess his lowest reception in a game this year, the fewest yards he had in a game on a long reception. Yeah.
Oh, on a long reception?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be up there, though, because his ADOT is insane. 17.2?
Close against the Seahawks, 16. He had one catch for 16 yards that game.
Dang.
He went over 20 yards in like every game. Every game except 2, he had at least a 20-yard reception.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Actually, yeah, at least a 22-yard reception in every game he played in, except 1, and that was the Seahawks. Well, 2. I'm sorry. It's Titans
fast.
game. He had 19.
Yeah,
A 19-yard reception. But yeah, just that's insane.
it is.
Also, I would say I don't think 21.3 yards per reception is repeatable. Just a hunch.
Probably not, but you never know. I don't know. It's just fun to put those stats out there. 20, yeah, no, probably not. But one thing we do know with Pierce is that he is an explosive play threat, and I think any team that does, we hope that it's with one, that makes us happy for fantasy football, because we would love to I would love to continue drafting him in 2026, and maybe one of the better places. But there's a big question mark with the Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones. I do think they bring Daniel Jones back just because of how bad the quarterback market is, unless they see something in Tua Tagovailoa, unless they see something in Kyler Murray. I don't think a lot of these teams are necessarily going to want to go into free agency without their quarterback locked up. So I think they do bring him back, but we have to look at his timeline for his return as well with that injury. Stinks.
Yeah,
I wish he didn't get injured. That was just horrible.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him too, because again, just found the right spot and was excelling. We know how great this season started for the Colts, and even though he was starting to tail off a little bit before the injury, it would have been interesting to see him finish the year, and really bad timing for him.
Hey, I've got a question. We've got a caller on the line. We haven't had a caller in a long time. You want to go to the phone lines?
Let's do it.
You want to see what's going on? Okay, we've got Aaron in Phoenix. Shout out. Let's ask Aaron first. Okay, I'm gonna ask Aaron at the end of this also who he wants as his head coach, because if it's Klint Kubiak, we're not. I'm sorry, Aaron. You can't have him. Aaron, what do you got for us?
He's not a Cardinals fan.
Well, then that's okay.
Okay.
Aaron, what do you got? Maybe I might have just scared him. Oh, there we go.
You said that the Seahawks schedule was weak. However, they went 6-2 against playoff teams, which you have to actually play the games, right? That you're dealt. So 6-2 in the regular season, 8-2 with the playoffs. The teams that they rolled over, that probably you're referring to, are the Saints that were improved. The Buccaneers, they lost fairly early in the season when the Buccaneers were still considered pretty good team. They beat the Jaguars and the Texans, right? Both playoff teams. They beat the Steelers, and they blew out the Steelers. So you play the hand that's dealt. You don't have the kind of differential that they had, leading the league in point differential. Yeah, you beat up on some cupcakes, but, that just shows that they can, they don't play down to their, to the teams that they're playing too. So,
Aaron, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
so,
I love that.
It's because people. Well, part of that I brought it up is because people are pointing to New England's schedule. So if you're going to say that, you got to say the same thing about New England, right? They beat who they were supposed to beat. They won 14 games. The thing is, there's no good teams in the NFL this year. There's just not. There's no elite teams. I mean, Seattle's very good. There's no doubt about it. But there's just not a lot of good teams this year. And then the games you mentioned, the Saints, they beat them in week 3. So that's not the same Saints team that finished the year. They were bad to begin the year. I don't think anyone thinks Pittsburgh's that good. The Jacksonville game came in week 6. That was before Jacksonville took off. Jacksonville's offense was struggling the first 8-9 weeks of the season. And Houston, same thing. They didn't really take off till after that game. But it's not knocking Seattle. The whole point is there's just not a lot of good teams in the NFL this year.
Do you think that changes next year, by the way?
What?
The shift. We've got a dominant team. I think we have to come back to a dominant team in the NFL in 2026.
Okay, I know it's early.
I have no answer.
That's the thing.
With Adam, we've got 18 new offensive coordinators coming into the league, or not coming into the league, but you know what I mean? It could be the same situation, I guess, in 2026, where you've got all these changes. We have 10 new head coaches in the league, and historically, not all of those guys are going to succeed. You don't usually see a first year head coach succeed like we just saw with Ben Johnson. You know what I mean? We don't see it happen. So maybe there won't be a dominant team next year again. It could
there
be
might
Rams.
not be.
I'll be honest with you. Could be if Matthew Stafford comes back, not to the MVP level, but maybe it's them. That would probably be my bet, because I think Klint Kubiak's gone.
Maybe it's the Seahawks again.
Maybe back to back. We could try this again. We could try to do it again.
Look,
why not?
Again, with New England too, they went 9-0 on the road.
Yeah,
this year. I mean, that's impressive.
It's impressive.
Yeah,
exactly.
They still again, and there were other teams that had easy schedules that didn't take advantage of it.
Exactly, and we see those every year. Aaron, appreciate you so much for calling in.
I'm assuming he's a Seahawks
talking
fan.
Good on the Seahawks. So checks in the mail.
Fan.
It's fine. I've got some of these.
You're
some
planting
of these calls
callers
coming
now.
In.
What are you doing?
We're going to continue on going through some of the moves that we could see with these wide receivers, some trades that could be happening. Yes, A.J. Brown could be on the trade block, and some DJ Moore could be as well, maybe BTJ. Let's see where their best landing spots are coming here next. This is Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. Fantasy Life, going through some potential trade candidates for wide receivers, some potential cut candidates as well. I mean, listen, you know who's getting cut that we already know? Brandon Aiyuk. And I don't even know if he gets picked up. What's going to happen with Brandon Aiyuk? That was the craziest sequence of events where someone gets this big extension, 4-year, $120 million extension. You think that his future is perfect. He's going to stay with the 49ers for a long time. And then he reportedly misses rehab sessions. They don't see him. He doesn't talk to the team. He doesn't show up. How odd was that?
It was one of the most odd things you'll see. And then, he didn't even file a grievance to try and get his money back. I don't know. This is a really strange situation. And there's a lot of things that would need to be answered here.
Yeah. Because it's not even a question of, okay, if he's cut, where does he land? Do we care? Because he's coming off that injury. And they're telling us that he missed rehab sessions. Where's he at in his rehab process? Do we have those answers? Does he even want to play? I feel like that should be probably a question that we have to ask ourselves is, does he even want to play? So he might be released, or he might, I don't know, need to renegotiate the deal that he has before going anywhere else. I mean, obviously, the Commanders are one that has been linked to him a lot, but I don't even know if he does go somewhere, and even if it's the best place for a fantasy football wide receiver to go, I don't even know how much it feels risky at this point with all the unknowns with Brandon Aiyuk right now.
I've also heard that he might be going to NASCAR.
Oh, what?
Yeah, because he was speeding past the stadium.
Stop. Would you get out of here? Stop.
Gotcha.
You can't say things like that to me because I'm like, wow, what a transition from NFL to Adam, come on. I
didn't
believe
think you would
almost
fall for
everything you say. Of course I do. I thought, wow, I really missed that article. You're so annoying. We'll see. I know where he's not going. It's NASCAR. I know that now. One other maybe cut candidate that I saw ESPN writing about was Tyreek Hill. I mean, what's going to happen? Because he went down with that awful, gruesome injury, and that was really early in the season, but he just did not seem like he wanted to be in Miami anymore anyways, and I don't know if that was a McDaniel thing, if that was a Tua Tagovailoa thing. Maybe it is the organization as a whole, but he is due $36 million in 2026, all of which is not guaranteed. So he's definitely not playing on that deal next year. We can tell you that right now. But the return is going to be interesting because does he return on a reduced salary? Mike McDaniel was fired. If they're looking to rebuild, maybe they just cut him because he is an older receiver. That's one I'm looking at too. And I don't know how inclined I'd be to draft him this year, even if he does land on a different team because of the injury and the age.
Yeah, and he's very reliant on his speed. So how much is that impacted by this injury? So that is definitely something that we have to be concerned about. And again, the landing spot as well. So yeah, I think things are wide open with Tyreek Hill right now.
Yeah, dislocated his left knee, tore multiple ligaments. That was week 4. So those are 2 potential cut candidates. I want to go through the trades that we've been talking about here. Where could DJ Moore end up if he is traded? Same with AJ Brown. A few more wide receivers that could have interesting landing spots for us for fantasy. We're going to break that down here next. Hope everyone's having a great start to their Thursday here this morning. We're going through potential trade candidates across the NFL here. Adam, what?
What did I say?
What? I don't know. What? What did I say?
Someone
okay.
tweeted at me saying, "You got her again, NASCAR."
Stop. Get out of here. Okay, but he never got me on the Mike Jones one, so I feel like that's a win.
Did you see the video that the Chargers put out?
Oh my gosh, yes. That did make me laugh.
And he's like, "Who? Mike Jones?"
He's going to be a perfect fit for at least the social team. If anyone is going to win out of this situation, the social team is just going to have so much content with him as their new offensive coordinator.
Definitely. And they typically do a good job, Chargers.
Oh, they're fantastic. Oh my gosh. Some of these teams are just so creative. A lot of them, most of them are. But yeah, the Chargers, if you guys don't follow, if you want to follow any account, they're one of the best. They are so funny. That's what you were laughing at? You're laughing at someone saying that you got me with the NASCAR thing?
Yeah.
Come on, get out of here. Get out of here. Trade candidate. Oh, you know what? By the way, if people have recommendations for restaurants that they like in San Francisco, please send them my way at Valenzuela 17, because I really want to know some good spots here.
Have you been there before?
I have, but it's only been day trips. I've only been there for 8 to 12 hours.
Okay.
Driving around and stuff. So I've done, the Golden Gate Bridge and all that stuff, but I want some good restaurants if anyone has them at Valenzuela 17 to send them my way. Okay, now anyways, now we can continue on here. You think AJ Brown's going to get traded? Because I don't, to be honest with you.
Because of the money?
Yeah, and I know that can be, maneuvered around. Best way to say it. He's due guaranteed $29 million in 2026. If the Eagles trade Brown before June 1st, they would be on the hook for $43.5 million in dead money. There's no way. It may be post June 1 then, but I don't think there's any part of the offseason where we potentially see him move like that. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, maybe they just keep him another year and hope that things get better. I mean, obviously, the offensive coordinator is going to be key, and that's been something that we're still waiting on.
Coordinator? Does no one want to work with Sirianni and Jalen Hurts?
I don't know what it is. And then, like, every year they have a different offensive coordinator. And look, Brown made comments, I think it was in November, saying that, this is just not going to be fixed, something to that extent. So clearly he was not happy. There was major issues. You could see it.
Oh, yeah.
We all watched it. It was not good. So you need to get him happy, so he's not reading books on the sideline again.
They need to make us happy, too, in fantasy. When was the last time we were actually excited about that offense in fantasy? 3 years ago? 4 years ago? Probably 3 years ago is the last time that we felt... because every single week, it was almost like you would hold your breath, and you would just say, well, I hope A.J. Brown can get some targets. Hope Devontae Smith can come down with a catch. Hope Jalen Hurts is, just good. So I don't know if they move him. It'll be interesting. And listen, the money, we've seen this before. The money can be moved around. Teams do this all the time with the salary cap, with all of this stuff coming in. But the dead money is what could really just make them say to themselves, hey, we just need you. And A.J. Brown is still a good player. So they just probably don't want to get rid of a good player on that team to try and replace him too. It's one that I don't know if he's on the move. What do you think about DJ Moore for the Chicago Bears? Could he potentially be someone that we see not in Chicago anymore?
I think it's possible. For some reason, it just didn't look like he was a fit there, right?
Yeah.
We didn't see him get targeted frequently. Now, he had some big catches, though, late in the season, but it seems like they want to go. They got Rome Odunze, they got Luke Burden, they have Colston Loveland. I could see him going to a different team.
Yeah, I can too. If he landed somewhere else, would that make you more excited to draft him? Because I know when we talked for 2025, we weren't necessarily that high on him, only because of everything
he's been a guy I draft every year. This was the first year that I did not have DJ Moore anywhere. I was just really worried about the emergence of Odunze and then spending the early draft capital on Colston Loveland, even though it did take some time. Look, we knew that Loveland at some point, and if you had to cut him early in the season, I don't blame you. It just wasn't happening, and Cole Kmet was still playing a lot of snaps and sometimes more than him. But we all knew that they did not spend that top 10 pick on Loveland to have him not be a factor. We saw down the stretch. It took some time, but he really emerged into one of the better tight ends in the league, so he's going to play a big role. Odunze, they were a little bit off at times, and then Odunze was playing through injury.
Yeah.
And Burden really emerged on the stretch. So, it's to a point where they can move on from Moore. And then not saying it was his fault, but that interception at the end was intended for more, and there was definitely a miscommunication there.
Yeah, that was weird. Or he quit on the route. I don't really know there, but it's one where I could see DJ Moore on the move. And again, I know that Ryan Poles signed him. It was a 4-year deal, $110 million extension. That was last summer. But again, things can be moved around. And so with how they've gone about their drafts, we'll see what they do in the draft this year. Yeah, DJ Moore could be someone that goes. Same with Brian Thomas Jr. There's a lot of big questions about players that we saw either not have good seasons, kind of go back and forth with their coaches. Of course, all these teams are saying, oh, we're going to keep AJ Brown. We're going to keep Brian Thomas Jr. Because what else are they going to say, Adam? But there are some big moves that could be made with the wide receivers this offseason. We're going to continue on. It is our favorite time of the day. Time for that Fantasy Life Water Cooler coming up here next. Oh, this is Fantasy Life. This is the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, our favorite time of the day, because we are breaking down all the pieces of news that you might have missed, just like you can get every single day in the Fantasy Life newsletter. So make sure you go subscribe to that. FantasyLife.com is where you go. And I mentioned at the top of the show, but we've got our projections all ready to go for the Super Bowl and our rankings. So make sure you go over to FantasyLife.com, see who we have projected for the most fantasy points in this outing. It'll help you with your drafts, with your DFS lineups, whatever you need. It's all over there. And again, guillotineleagues.com if you want to draft one more time this season, Adam, or you could get into an underdog draft right after the Super Bowl and just be kind of a sicko, which we absolutely love. But one last draft, if you're looking to have anything in this Super Bowl, you can go and do a draft for a Guillotine League. Guillotineleagues.com is where you want to go. Not too much. I mean, there was a lot of news yesterday that we had to cover, Adam. A lot of hirings, still some firings, and we've got two open NFL head coaching jobs left. The reports that I've been reading and kind of that everyone knows is that when you're looking at these two jobs, both of them are going to try to go and get one Klint Kubiak from the Seattle Seahawks. So it's been a lot of hirings this offseason, but it's the Arizona Cardinals, it's the Las Vegas Raiders who are left for head coaches. We still have a ton of offensive coordinators that we're waiting on as well, so we're going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, two open NFL head coaching jobs are left. Klint Kubiak, looks like the reports are that he's in the running, obviously, for both of those. He's doing his final, so he has to talk with them before they leave. The Seahawks and the Patriots leave on Sunday to go to California for this Super Bowl. So it looks like he's going to be doing those interviews right before that on Saturday, I think the reports were. So yeah, we know that he's someone that a lot of these teams probably wanted. If the Seahawks weren't this far into going to the Super Bowl, maybe he would have been a candidate elsewhere, but some teams just didn't want to wait. And it is a gamble, Adam, because you got two teams left, 50-50 chance. And I think that if we're looking at the Las Vegas Raiders and the Arizona Cardinals, the Raiders actually might be the better situation, the better landing spot for a new head coach for them, because they've got draft capital. They've got a lot of money they're projected to have for this upcoming season as well. And they don't have bad pieces on that team either. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, he's got two open NFL head coaching jobs left, and Klint Kubiak a front runner for both.
Yeah, and I do think the Raiders are the better job, right? Number one pick,
so.
Tom Brady in the organization. There's some better pieces there with the Cardinals. They have a lot to improve on. Is Kyler Murray going to be there? So yeah, I think it's pretty clear that if he does want the more desirable job, it is in Vegas.
Yeah, because they obviously called you. You're busy. You can't be an NFL head coach right now, but you told me that you would rather the Raiders job, right?
Yeah. We'll see.
Sense.
We're still talking. But,
okay.
I love doing this show here, and it would be tough to leave.
Exactly.
So they would have to really just give me an offer that I can't refuse.
I respect that. Yeah,
I don't know if NFL coaching money is better than radio money.
It might be close.
It's close. Well, depending on who you are.
Las Vegas Raiders salary cap space, too. They have the third most cap space, it looks like. Los Angeles Chargers are going to be first, Tennessee Titans, then the Raiders, then the Seahawks, and then the Rams. So, yeah, I think Las Vegas, as much as they have not been good for, a little while. That is a desirable position. You just have to figure out, number 1 overall draft pick probably means you're going to get Fernando Mendoza. Max Crosby's over there still. You've got a great tight end in Brock Bowers. And you have to, and Ashton Genty. I keep forgetting to mention Ashton Genty, but fix that offensive line. And there's a few other, obviously, spots that you have to fix as well. But that puts them maybe potentially in a good space for 2026. The Arizona Cardinals, I don't know. I'm leaning to the side, Adam, that Kyler Murray stays. I think whoever they hire as the head coach, that at this point, maybe Kyler Murray is someone that stays there. He's owed $36.8 million next season. And I think a lot of people also believe that he's going to be traded or even released, is some things that I've been reading. But to me, with the state of the quarterback, free agency class, I think that maybe he stays with Arizona.
It could be, or maybe a team like the Jets
maybe
trades for him, right?
Oh, that'd be wow. Would we even talk about Kyler Murray if he went to the Jets?
Well, usually
would we even mention him?
Yeah, when you go to
fantasy?
The Jets, it's usually it's not good.
They can't do that, right? No, they probably could. What are the Jets doing? What are the Jets going to do? Besides firing everyone, 3 weeks too late.
That's a question we ask every single season. What are the Jets doing? And the answer is usually not positive.
Yeah, well, at least with the Cardinals, we can say good things about Trey McBride, right? That's about it. Because to you, Michael Wilson, can he do that again? Or was that a product of Marvin Harrison Jr. was out, Jacoby Brissett was dropping back to pass every other second, and he can't sustain that? Or do you think we actually saw what Michael Wilson's ceiling could be, and we should believe that he can get to that again if he's with Arizona or if he's on a different team?
I'm going to bank against it. We saw when Harrison was in there, the volume was not the same. You give him credit for what he did. It was also a case, as you mentioned, where they're just dropping back to pass 40, 45 times a game.
Yeah.
The volume was there. Obviously, McBride gets a lot of attention. That can open things up, but it's hard to envision Wilson getting that much volume again with a healthy Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. It's not going to happen, right? Because then who's taking the hit? Unless you feel like Harrison is just not going to do anything. I mean, we know McBride's going to be peppered with a lot of targets, but a lot of this was, Harrison being out, and they're not good enough to have 3 guys in the top 25. So
no.
We talked about it weeks ago that it was a good time if you are in Dynasty to explore, to see what you get from Michael Wilson. Now, a lot of people are probably well aware, but you never know. All you need is one person to bite.
Well, there could be someone that does believe in Michael Wilson. That's why it's okay. Just send out those trades.
Yeah, look, he was a 3rd-round pick in 2023. I did like him coming out, and he just didn't do anything his first 2 years, and then finally did get that opportunity and put up a 1,000-yard season. But if they invest. I mean, Marvin Harrison was a top pick, top 10 pick. So you got to think that they're going to do everything they can to get him going. And then McBride, we know, is a featured part of the offense. So if Wilson's like the 3rd guy in the offense, he can't repeat what he did last year.
Yeah, with Marvin Harrison Jr. on the field, this is for Michael Wilson. So it's 28 games. He's got 4.6 targets, 2.8 catches, 34 yards, 7 total touchdowns on average. And then without, in those 5 games, 13.6 targets, 9.2 catches, 119.6 yards, and 4 total touchdowns. So I feel like he's shown us who he is. We could be wrong about that, though. And I don't know. Maybe Arizona saw what maybe a new coach comes in and said, hey, Jacoby Brissett, I mean, we didn't win with you, but at least we were, scoring points and stuff. So maybe that suggests that they could keep him around. But yeah, there's too much evidence for me to say that this was, this feels like it was a one-off for Michael Wilson. But we could always be wrong on that. I do agree with you, though. Selling now in Dynasty, it's probably the time, especially if you have someone that's a little bit higher on the Cardinals. If they potentially do make a good head coaching move, right? That would also be the time. You want to kind of play with the timeline there a little bit. So
they allowed at least 37 points in 6 of their last 9 games.
The defense was so bad.
But again, we loved it for fantasy because we knew that they would be playing from behind or trying to keep pace with teams, and it led to great fantasy numbers, which is part of the reason why Michael Wilson excelled to the level that he did, he had at least 10 targets in 5 of the last 9 games. He scored, wait, did he score all? He scored 6 of his 7 touchdowns in the last 5 games. So, look, he helped people win leagues. There's no question about it. If you were able to get him off the waiver wire, you pretty much were playing him almost every single week. Harrison came back for, 2 games before getting injured again?
Yeah,
1?
It wasn't
I think it might have actually been 1 because I'm looking, I don't know, 1 or 2. But you could see the games where I'm pretty sure when Wilson had 3 for 36 and 7 targets, Harrison played. And then there's a game where Wilson had 2 for 52 and a touchdown against Atlanta. I thought Harrison was out.
What week was that? 16?
Looking now, Harrison played.
He did.
Harrison
he
only
had
had 3 targets that week.
Yeah, and 1 catch.
Yeah, Elijah Higgins had a big week that week for some reason.
Man,
7 for
this
91.
is awful. With
that was
Marvin
the McBride
Harrison.
week where he actually had a bad week, 4 for 27. But yeah, you just look at that game log and you're like, okay, Harrison played that week. Yeah, Harrison played that week. You just saw it. It was a noticeable decline in targets for Michael Wilson when Harrison was out there.
I want to so badly believe that Marvin Harrison Jr. is good because I really do, Adam. At my core, don't you believe that he's good? But it's just, we can't even have the talent conversation like we have with some of these other players where we say, oh, Justin Jefferson, not to say that this is the same level, but oh, Justin Jefferson, we can't let him fall past a certain round in drafts just because of his talent alone. Even though he's got bad quarterback play, you can't let him fall. Chris Olave, at some point, you were just betting on pure talent, athleticism. I mean, I feel so strongly that Marvin Harrison Jr. has something, but at some point we have to just stop believing that and say, well, what he's shown us might be what he is. And I think that's really disappointing. Obviously disappointing for Cardinals fans in Arizona in general, because they put such high draft capital into him, but it just blows my mind that he potentially could just be a player that's not good. Middle of the pack, doesn't do much for us in fantasy, and it's just disappointing.
Well, I thought that going into 2025 that he would be able to be drafted at a higher discount, and it didn't happen. As I'm doing drafts, I was surprised he was going, 3rd, 4th round. So I didn't take him anywhere, but we always talk about we're in drafts and we're like, I don't have any of that player, and I kind of want to get 1 share just in case he goes off. Well, I didn't get any, and obviously it worked out. Yeah. But you will be able to get him at a more significant discount this year if you do believe it'll be easier to buy back in, because I'm assuming he's going to be, I'd say, a 6th round pick.
Oh, see, I think there's
you think he's going to be higher?
I think he could go 4th round. I think there's
again?
There's such a strong divide, because I think there are people, and I'm not this far, but we could tell ourselves, all right, new head coach, check. New quarterback, check. New offensive coordinator, okay. 3 new pieces that makes a whole different offense that maybe features Marvin Harrison Jr. or just gives him something else that he needs to succeed. I could see people looking at that and saying to themselves, I'm willing to take a risk on him in the 4th or 5th round. Yeah.
Yeah, he's someone, like, when we see these early drafts, I'm very interested to see where he goes, and then that can fluctuate based on all of those factors you just alluded to, like who do they bring in. So, yeah, there's still a lot of remaining questions in this whole Arizona offense, and specifically with Harrison.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I might be roped back into it, Adam. I'm not going to lie. I'm already thinking about it right now. A new head coach, a new quarterback, new offensive coordinator. I might tell myself, yeah, this looks good. And then in week 5, when I'm complaining about him, you can remind me of this exact moment and say, remember when we told you to not do this? So we'll pay attention to that. Did you see, we're in the water cooler right now going through news and notes. Did you see that the Pro Football Hall of Fame released a statement following that Bill Belichick vote report? So the Pro Football Hall of Fame, if you didn't hear about this yesterday, which I'm sure you did, Bill Belichick was not not a first go Hall of Famer. He was not selected to the Hall of Fame his first year of eligibility. Everyone said, how could that be? He's one of the best coaches of all time. So now the Pro Football Hall of Fame released a statement and says that, if voting members, quote, violated the selection process bylaws, that action will be taken. So maybe there's a little bit of a scandal going on, Adam. That would be kind of fun. I said maybe more drama.
It did not mention Belichick specifically by name, but we all know what it's referring to. Okay, come on.
Could you imagine someone just going about, allegedly going about, trying to get Bill Belichick to not make the Hall of Fame on his first go? That would be crazy. I think don't you think there's something else going on here?
Yeah,
Feels a
for
little
sure.
sketchy.
Again, you could say whatever you want, but anyone who knows about football, the history of the NFL, you can't say that Belichick doesn't belong on the
No,
first ballot.
no,
You
he
just
has to
can't.
be. It just means, Adam, from here on out, unless someone has the same exact credentials as Bill Belichick, we should never, ever get a first ballot Hall of Fame head coach again, unless someone has the exact same Super Bowls record as Belichick, then maybe. But that's what they're telling us right now. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But a little bit more news here. Nothing crazy because we had a few hirings yesterday that we broke down already. Looks like Bo Nix's broken ankle. Looks like he should be good to return. There was a little bit of back and forth though. I don't know if you noticed that Sean Payton the other day said Bo Nix's broken ankle was a matter of when, not if. And then Bo Nix came back out and met with reporters, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, and said there was nothing predisposed about his ankle because Sean Payton used the word, I believe, predisposed. So he should be good and back. Probably doesn't mean we're going to be going out of our way for him in fantasy football. I've got him right now outside my top 15 quarterbacks. That comes out tomorrow. And I might move him right at 15. But yeah, for right now, he's at 16 because I want Jordan Love ahead of him.
Yeah, Nix is someone that, I did not like going into the season because he was drafted like 8 or 9. So you had to pay for what he did in his rookie year. And I just didn't think he was going to repeat that. Now, the numbers were not too far off. The completion percentage went down about 3%. Now, the pass attempts went way up. You mentioned that he led the NFL in pass attempts and still was not a top 10 fantasy quarterback. So that's definitely concerning. He did not reach 4,000 yards. The touchdowns went from 29 to 25.
Yeah.
Interceptions went from 12 to 11. His rushing yards went down too. He went from 430 to 356. Did score 5 times on the ground as opposed to 4 as a rookie. So, yeah, it's just he's not a QB1. He's more of a higher end QB2. You said 15. Yeah, I'd probably put him around 15, 16, just, off the top of my head without any rankings done yet. That's probably the area where I would put him. But, I would not feel comfortable with him as my starting quarterback in fantasy.
Yeah, because he, again, you said it, but he was in that range, QB 8. It was the same. I remember this vividly because whenever I got to this point in the draft, I never loved any of the Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
That was the range where I just said to myself, I'd rather get an elite or a good wide receiver, bolster my running backs for my draft and just skip them. And at the time, you could wait and go get a Drake May or someone a little bit later. But I just remember hating that portion of the draft because they did, they enticed you a little bit, right? You said, oh, okay, something, and Patrick Mahomes, for what it's worth at the beginning of the season, that was looking like a pick that you wanted because he was putting up such great numbers and he looked fantastic. And then obviously the whole offense crumbled, but that was part of the draft that I just hated every single time last year when you got there.
Yeah, same with me. I was more in the Dak Prescott, Drake May, Caleb Williams area. Mahomes I was tempted by, but he went in an area where I just was not able to get him, which worked out in the end. Because, again, it look like for a stretch. It looked like for a stretch that Mahomes was really to get going. He had 4 touchdowns, then 1, then 3, 3, 3. And you're like, oh, boy, here come the Chiefs. And Rice was back. And then it just completely collapsed and fell apart. And Mahomes was running a lot, too. Like, people forget. Mahomes in the first 6 games had games of 57 rushing yards with a touchdown, 66 rushing yards with a touchdown, 60 rushing yards with a touchdown. He had 422 rushing yards on the season and, missed the last, 3 games, I think he missed.
Yep.
So, and he had 5 rushing touchdowns, so he was running a lot. And we see that with Mahomes. Usually it's the postseason. The bigger the game, Mahomes will run a lot more. He tends to be a little bit more conservative in the regular season, but we did see him run a lot more this season during the regular season. But yeah, that range of quarterbacks, usually that 7 to 10 range, they usually don't work out. You either take one early or you wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll probably see the same thing again this year.
Probably. This is again coming out tomorrow. My
I know
quarterback
Jackson
rankings.
Dart, you said you had like it's 7.
Yeah, it's gonna be no, I don't know. So Jackson Dart at 7. I'm gonna rank Patrick Mahomes because the reports are that he's trying to get back for week 1, and I think it's important to have quarterback rankings.
Yeah,
with
but if you're
Patrick Mahomes in it.
drafting after the Super Bowl, are you taking Mahomes as the 8th
No.
quarterback off the board? Yeah,
No.
so I don't know if you can put him that high yet.
Yeah, I'll move him.
I mean,
Dak
I think
Prescott,
that's going to be something
Dak
that's
Prescott at 9.
Yeah. I think with Mahomes, you probably put him lower for now, and then depending on the reports,
Move him back up.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
to me, you have to do your rankings as if you're drafting.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so that if it's that same range, Jackson Dart, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, that's where I'm going to have like my 7 to 10 range more than likely right now.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it like from 8 to 14, there's probably not a big gap between those quarterbacks, and it just comes down to like who you prefer.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. I love doing those. So again, that article is gonna be live tomorrow. Actually, my top 15 quarterback rankings with breakdowns for each guy. So you can make sure to go and read that 100% free at fantasylife.com. We are going to continue on though. That was the Fantasy Life Water Cooler wide receiver, running back surprises from last year. Want to continue our conversation on that? Good surprises and maybe some not so great surprises where you said, "Where the heck did he go? Where did that come from?" I want to talk through DeAndre Swift, Kyle Pitts as well. Can he recapture the magic that he gave us in 2025? We're going to break that down here coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here, going through wide receiver and running back surprises from the 2025 season for us in fantasy, presented here by Xfinity. So make sure fantasy football is unpredictable. Like I've said before, we already know that your internet price doesn't have to be. Lock in fast, reliable Wi-Fi with Xfinity's 5-year price guarantee. Learn more at xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. Select plans only. So we're getting through it here, Adam. There were surprises. Not great surprises, not bad surprises, like Kyle Pitts. I don't know if that was you said, hey, if you have a chance to take him at tight end, what was he? Tight end 17 was his ADP. Go ahead and do that. And if you did it, he finished as the overall tight end too. Do you think he can do that again though? Realistically, we can play the game. Okay. Maybe they do not keep him, right? The Atlanta Falcons have Stefanski as Stefanski is their new head coach. And maybe they just say, hey, we don't want to keep him around. But do you think Pitts, for as much as he's let fantasy managers down the past few seasons, think he can make it up to us and do it again?
I mean, obviously it depends on where he lands, but we all know that the talent was there. We saw it in his rookie year when he had 1,000 yards and then let us down, missed time in his second year, and then just hasn't been as productive until this year. And a lot of it did have to do with Drake London going down with injury. That was definitely a big factor because he pretty much became the go-to receiver in the offense. But we did see a few games with London there early in the season where Pitts was solid. But yeah, to me, and I didn't have him anywhere, but we had this discussion because of his price. It made sense to draft him if you're taking that second tight end. And for me, because I know some people don't like drafting a second tight end, others do. For me, it all comes down to how deep the rosters are. If I only have 5-6 bench spots, I don't want to have a second tight end unless I really wait on the position and I'm not enamored with my tight end one, and I go, okay, early in the season, I'll take a second one, and hopefully one emerges as the starter through the first 2-3 weeks. If I'm in a league with 18 to 20 roster spots, I will take a second tight end because oftentimes it has worked out where maybe the first one I draft is not panning out, is mediocre, and there's a lot of tight ends in that second group outside the top 12 that you feel could be potential breakouts, and if you have them on the roster, then they become your every week starter, and you could just pencil them in as the starter. Yeah. It did take some time, though, for Pitts this year. Like, if you did draft Pitts, there might have been a period where he was dropped.
Yeah,
I know
he
some
didn't
people
get going till week 14.
No, that's unfair.
Week
Come on.
13.
He had games in October, 7 for 62, 9 for 59. So he had a couple of good games in there, 5 for 70 with a touchdown. So there was a stretch he was good. But yes, after that, 4 for 38, 2 for 38, 2 for 14, 2 for 25. So after that, I could see people saying, you know what? It's not happening. He's not involved enough in the offense. I'm cutting him. That's when he started to go off, right after that 2 for 25 game. And I think that, I don't know if that was the same time London got injured, but that's really when he took off. Then he had 8, 10, 12, 9, 3, 9 targets. Yep. So it's a matter of if he's a big part of his offense. So it does depend on where he lands. But this year, it made sense to draft him at that price. But I do think people did cut him at some point, and the people who added him off the waiver wire for that stretch were probably rewarded and maybe made a deep run in their postseason.
Yeah, I was. I mean, you know me. I was one that did not draft him, and then by the end,
you gotta forget about guys who burn you. Come on,
you know, it was for the show. It was for the hashtag content. But it's true. It's a good lesson that even if guys have burned you in the past, you do have to look at price and just say to yourself, we already know the tight end. We say this all the time about the tight end landscape in fantasy football. You've got your elite guys. After that, at some point, unless you really hit on someone, you're probably streaming because these guys week in and week out don't give you what you want. And so, you know, heading into week 13, Kyle Pitts was the tight end 16 overall in full point PPR. And then he was able to just go on that tear like you just talked about, ended up with 106 targets, 82 receptions, and then 870 yards. And people will say, here's the one thing that people will say, Adam, well, there's so many caveats. Drake London missed 5 games, you know, and he wasn't good all season long. And so I get that. It's, for me, going to depend on where he lands. And honestly, Adam, we might be priced out of Kyle Pitts, to be honest, because if people have been waiting on Kyle Pitts to show us this version of him again, and he lands on a team like, what if Travis Kelce retires and he lands with the Kansas City Chiefs? And in that theory, Patrick Mahomes is good for week 1. He's going to be so wickedly expensive. He'll probably go as he's probably already going to go as a top 5 tight end, but he might go 4.
You think he's going to go as a top 5 tight end now? I don't think so.
Let me see my rankings. I'm getting this ready too.
McBride, Bowers, Loveland, Kraft, I think might still go top 5. And then you're looking at
if he's healthy, yes.
Right, and then you're looking at something like Laporta, Fannin, Warren. Like, I don't see Pitts going top 5.
I have him right now at 8.
Yeah, I don't think he goes top now. If he goes to Kansas City, he might.
Yeah, exactly. Kansas City, that's probably the big one. I don't know. Like, Philadelphia has questions with Goddard.
Come on. Well, Goddard's a free agent, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying that he would be in the conversation to be.
No.
He's not repeating those touchdowns.
No. I'm saying if they need a replacement for Goddard because he is a free agent, maybe he goes there, and maybe he stays in Atlanta. I know that they've made comments already about Michael Penix Jr. and we just have to. This is again a wait and see because Kevin Stefanski did say that Michael Penix Jr. is, quote, somebody I'm very excited about, but. You know, he's rehabbing a torn ACL. I can't remember what week that happened, but it was later in the season, if I remember correctly. So there's Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
When he.
It was. So I can't remember week 14,
I think
15?
Kyle Pitts could be a top 5 tight end for people if he does land in the right situation, like Kansas City with a healthy Mahomes and Travis Kelce gone. I don't think that's where he ends up, but, you know, it could be. There could be.
Yeah, that would be as Kelce retires. He could be back in Atlanta. I mean, does Washington make a push for him?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Kyle Pitts, I can see. Kyle Pitts is probably someone I'm certain I will move up my rankings potentially because you're right. I mean, Tucker Kraft, I hope he's in line to return from his injury. Then I have Harold Fannin, Tyler Warren, Sam Laporta. I don't know if I love Dalton Kincaid here, but I also have Dalton Kincaid ahead of him. That might be someone I move down.
Kincaid, look, here's the thing with Kincaid. We know the talent is there. It's the health. It seems like there's always something. I mean, this knee has always been an issue. Clearly, they could use him. For me, it depends on price. I might have had Kincaid.
I think you had him in
one league. I had him in one league this year. But yeah, he's been very frustrating. He had the rookie year where he had 73 catches. But since then, injuries have been a factor. He's always missing game. He missed 5 more games this year. So that also speaks volumes about the tight end landscape that, Kincaid is in that top 10 for now.
I mean, I think it speaks volumes for Harold Fannin being in there, to be totally honest with you. But Harold Fannin looked good. So it's just the question of Shedeur. We talked about him yesterday, but the connection with him and Shedeur Sanders was fantastic. I know that many people don't like the new head coaching hire and everything else that comes along with that. And this is rankings. I haven't even gone into potential rookies coming in because I know there's at least one really solid rookie coming in from this class that could be potentially breaking into the top 10, top 12, depending again on landing spot. But we've got some new names in here, like Oronde Gadsden's in there as well. He's inside my top. He's at 10, I should say, because I've got him ahead of Jake Ferguson, Brenton Strange, Hunter Henry. Like, those names are not moving the needle. So Oronde Gadsden's in there, Harold Fannin Jr.'s in there, Colston Loveland, and Tyler Warren, all inside the top 10. So those are newer names.
I think that's going to be the popular order. But again, things can change with free agency and
all the time.
Yeah.
You should just draft. Yeah.
Gadsden had a nice run and then disappeared.
Yeah, that was kind of brutal, to be honest with you, because he really did have. I mean, he was someone. I know I picked him up in one.
Oh, I picked him up in a lot of leagues.
I had to drop. Well, because you know how much Tucker Kraft I had last season.
Yeah, I think I had Kraft in 2 leagues. That was a crushing injury.
That was a killer. It's just because we were. I mean, as much as we always say what we were wrong about, but we were on track to be very correct about Tucker Kraft getting more volume and being used more in that offense because they needed someone to step up, and it wasn't the wide receivers that were doing it. It was them focusing around Tucker Kraft in that offense, and it was really working for them. So that was so disappointing because he went down and picked up Oronde Gadsden, and he had the 29-point game against Indianapolis week 7, 18 after 11, and then he got over 10 fantasy points twice after week 9. It was bad. You probably dropped him. I dropped him.
Yeah, it was like when you meet someone, you date them for 2 months, it's great, and then they just ghost you. That's what Gadsden did.
I mean,
tough. It was.
Call us back, Gadsden. Come on.
I don't know. It's just, I guess it's the Chargers offense, and also they had so many targets, right? You had Quentin Johnston, you had Keenan Allen, you had McConkey, so there's no way that offense could support all of those. So we got a nice glimpse into what Gadsden can do. And again, the talent is still there, and he's more like a wide receiver anyway. He's got the size, so maybe the offense gets better, the offensive line improves. But yeah, I did get Gadsden a little early in a league where I spent nothing on him,
nice.
like $8 to $12, and then other leagues I waited a little bit longer. It was one of those two. I was like, should I pick him up this week? I don't know. And then then obviously they have the big game, and you're like, damn it, now I got to spend like 15% of my budget.
I don't know. Quentin Johnston too could be traded this offseason. If that Chargers team really looks around and says, okay, we've got McConkey, we've got Gadsden, we've got Keenan Allen, Trey Harris, if you want to talk, he was a 2025 rookie. He was the outside option.
Keenan Allen's not going to do anything anymore. I think he's pretty much done.
Well, he's a free agent too.
Is he?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I believe he's a free agent. I
don't know why they would bring him back at this point.
That's another player that was kind of good at the beginning and then tailed off a little bit. And Quentin Johnston, to be honest with you. That whole team, maybe we should just label that the whole team. They were good at the beginning, and then we never really got the ending that we wanted with them. Yeah, never mind. Keenan Allen wasn't that good.
I think I did see the Chargers say they want Keenan Allen back, but they always say that stuff. Like, we want him back. And then,
it's a nice story. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, he'll be 34 when the season starts.
Oh, when's his birthday?
April.
What? How do you know that?
I don't know.
Oh, what day? No, it's actually
15th.
Not April. Oh, no, 27th. It is April. How did you know that? Okay. 1992.
I mean, because he's just like me.
Oh, just like
Very,
that's right.
very sharp guy.
You remember the April birthdays. That's right. I got you.
Not all right,
I'm going to quiz you on all April NFL birthdays for those players and figure out if you know them all. We're going to continue on here, going through some of the other wide receiver running back surprises and going to continue going through what's next for these eliminated teams. I do want to talk about the Houston Texans and what they need to do to get better for 2026. We're going to break it down here. Coming up next. The secret weapon is us and a lucky lasagna, Adam. That's what you need to do. I think you have to get in on the trend. Maybe your team can be at the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, okay. Come on,
Yeah,
let's
maybe
be
not.
reasonable
I'm
here.
sorry.
Let's
Maybe.
be realistic for a second.
You never know. I think it wasn't a bad 2025 for you, all things considered. You had Schottenheimer.
Was it?
Everyone, I don't know.
It was a wide open NFL and they didn't make the playoffs.
That's fine.
I don't think it was a good year.
The Houston Texans made the playoffs, but
Great.
they need some.
They had a great defense.
They need some serious help. If we're talking, because, this offseason, you and I always go through all the team needs for every single NFL team going into 2026. And yeah, the Texans need a little bit of help. I couldn't, 12-5. If you asked me what their record was and what I thought they were looking like, because their offense was not great. Points per game was sitting at 23.8, which is 13th. Not bad, honestly. EPA per pass, 17th. EPA per rush, 30th. And points per game against was 17.4, which was second in the NFL. The ground game first and foremost. I mean, hopefully everyone listened when we said, hey, Nick Chubb, I always said, Adam, I hope I'm wrong about Nick Chubb, because that means we get the old Nick Chubb back, but we didn't. And it was unfortunate because those injuries have obviously changed him and he's not the same player. And Joe Mixon, hopefully everyone listened and stayed away from him. Woody Marks, he was fine, but he was never phenomenal, fantastic. I wish he got more work out of the passing game, but they just did not use him like that. So I know running back is a big question mark because Woody Marks, again, he was fine. And I think the team might just be happy with moving on with him, like him on the team. And he really does deserve credit, but it wasn't fantastic.
No, the offense obviously was a big problem. The offensive line has got to be upgraded because they would get into the red zone, inside the 10, inside the 5. They could not run the football at all. So they got to improve there. Yeah, Woody Marks was a disappointment because, there was many weeks he was getting massive volume and just really not doing anything with it. And then CJ Stroud obviously has to get better. It was a difficult postseason to watch for him. But yeah, that defense is so good, and that's probably why it's frustrating for Texans fans. You have a dominant defense like that. Again, it's a wide open season. There was a path to get there if things broke right, and their defense kept them in that game against New England. The Texans offense would turn it over, and New England would often go 3 and out, and it gave them a chance. But yeah, they really need to upgrade the offensive line, potentially running back, and maybe give their young receivers more of a chance. We saw a little bit out of Higgins, but Noel, they just didn't really give him a shot.
Yeah, I did like drafting Higgins, and I kept him with the off chance that maybe he was going to be utilized a little bit more. And he gave us some games where there were flashes, but it was never a full season. And let me tell you this. So obviously, if you're asking what the Houston Texans need to do in 2026, it's like you said, the offensive line. They haven't been good in years, though. 2025, so they were PFF's 27th ranked offensive line, 29th in 2024, 15th in 2023, 26th, and then 29th. They just have not been good, and they need to, if it's either replace or re-sign their right guard, right tackle. If both of those guys leave, though, Ian Hartitz, shout out to this stat, if they leave, then they leave the team with the league's 5th cheapest offensive line entering 2026 at this present moment. You need to allocate money to this line to help your quarterback, to help the ground game, to help everyone, because those stats, 27th ranked offensive line, and you still made the playoffs? That's horrible.
Yeah, they clearly were led by their defense. It was impressive watching them week in, week out. They were very physical. Like, they beat teams up. They were just such a physical defense. And it's unfortunate when you have that elite defense and you're just really getting nothing from your offense consistently. So, yeah, they have a lot of work to do. But, yeah, it does start with the offensive line because you got to be able to get those tough yards near the goal line. And you got to give Stroud some time because if he's consistently under pressure, it starts to get in your head. And it affects the offense. And we saw it this year with the Texans. It was a very disappointing offense.
Yeah, they've got obviously some draft picks coming up here. They need to bolster the offensive line or just make that good. Maybe they go, get a running back. You're going to hear when we start talking about some of these rookies coming in, you guys are going to hear a lot about the Notre Dame running back, Jeremiah Love. He is going to be a top option there. I do not think he's going to be available at the end of round one. The price, though, could be. He could be a second round, guy that they go and get. So we're going to start talking about these rookies here very soon so that you guys are in the know about all the rookies coming in. Get ready for your dynasty drafts and everything else. But there's a lot the Texans need to do, and it was wildly impressive because of that defense that they were able to make it into the playoffs this season. So we'll see if they can get things right going into 2026. Going to talk more about eliminated teams and what they need to do for next season, starting with the Buffalo Bills again here, and then some more wide receiver running back surprises from last season as well. We're going to break it down here coming up next. Getting you ready for the Super Bowl, of course. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. I'll be there next week. Missing my buddy Adam, but that'll be okay. I'll send you some food, just like the lasagna.
Okay. I mean, I'll take it. Hopefully it's still edible at that point.
It probably won't be, and I would probably be very careful about it because we don't need you getting sick either. That's what we don't need.
Want that.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll make sure to do that. I think though we have to start manifesting. You need to come in 2027 because you've not been to California, and it is at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, right up the street from me.
Again? Second
I know,
straight
isn't
year?
that? Yeah.
What is going on? Well, I mean, the weather.
Different locations, but yeah, and it's nice weather. But yeah, they're going. So the next three. So it's San Francisco, obviously this year, and then at the Rams Chargers Stadium, SoFi, and then it's in Atlanta, 2028.
Atlanta, okay.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I had so much fun. Atlanta
I've
was
never
so
been
cool.
to Atlanta too. I'd be in trouble in Atlanta though.
I love Atlanta. Whose birthday? Oh, I remember this. Whose birthday were they playing the Falcons? And he got, there was a report the night before that he was sick, and it was his birthday, and they were in Atlanta, and you went on this whole thing. Was it Kenneth Walker? No.
Oh, maybe it was.
Was it?
It was a regular season game?
Yeah. Do you remember that, though? We talked about that. And you said, where are they playing? And I said, oh, they're on the road in Atlanta. And you said, okay, there it is. That's why.
Maybe. Was that this year? No, last year?
I feel like it was this year. No? Because I think we said, oh, here he goes. He's going to be hurt again.
Well, Kenneth Walker's birthday's in October, but
did they play in October? Hang on.
October
No, he didn't
20th.
Miss the game. He was able to play.
Oh, but
the whole thing was that they said he was sick.
Okay, so he did play on his birthday. It was a Monday night game against Houston.
Oh, then it wasn't this year. Maybe it was last
year. I don't remember.
I remember that conversation though.
I do too. I can't remember the player though, but yes. Do you think they'll ever put a Super Bowl again in New York, New Jersey?
Probably
not, right?
Probably not. It's cold over there.
So they did it one year when the Seahawks.
No, I know they did. No, I know. I'm just saying I don't even know how they pick those, if it's a vote thing or what. But you've also got some new stadiums being built, like the Bills, that new stadium.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're not gonna put a Super Bowl in Buffalo.
I know. But the whole thing that I was reading this article the other day, of just, eventually we're not gonna have weather games anymore because all these stadiums are gonna have a roof on them. Like,
are they? I mean, Buffalo's
I think
not.
Eventually. Buffalo's has a roof.
No.
Doesn't it? What?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
Oh, why did I think it did? Hang on.
You're talking about the current one or the new one?
No, the new one.
I don't think they're having a
Oh, well,
roof
that's
on
awesome then. Oh, okay. I was getting a little bit sad.
Those fans love it. They just, no shirts,
Yeah, they just
jumping
they
through tables.
have roof. I don't know what this means. Roof canopy design. I don't know what that means. So, anyway. What were we talking about? How did I get to Atlanta? Oh, Super Bowls. Oh, Atlanta was so fun. When I went for that Peach Bowl, though, the food, amazing. The people, amazing. I didn't want to leave. Yeah.
All right, so
it was so fun. You
Atlanta
need to go.
or
And
California first?
Both.
Which one? Both?
Oh, come to
Okay.
California because then you can play, you can find a softball league for a week and play with them or something.
For a week? Yeah.
Get a
Be like,
pickup
hey,
game
you guys
going.
need a sub?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I'm
They
available.
always need subs out
They
there.
usually
of
do,
course. Yeah. They'd say, heck yeah, get over here. So I'm just saying, it's right up the street next year.
But
we'll manifest
which
that.
part? San Diego?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
San Diego.
Is that the best part of
so
California?
nice. I mean, I love where I live. I'm in Orange County, but I do love San Diego. I go down there very often.
Yeah,
it's just
everyone
so
raves
nice.
about it.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. The weather's beautiful year round. Yeah, it's good. Anyway, I've no easy transition. Oh, let me say this for the Buffalo Bills, since we're talking about the new stadium and everything. What's the thing they need to address the most this offseason? I know we'd want to say probably wide receiver, but the offensive line is probably one of the big ones. Wide receiver, interior offensive line as well. There's a lot that they need to do.
Yeah, look, fantasy-wise, and we all want a receiver for Josh Allen. It's pretty clear. So that's something we've been talking about now for a couple of years. You did mention the offensive line. Connor McGovern, David Edwards are free agents. So that's an area. And I think defense, too. They definitely need some help in the secondary. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot that needs to be done here. But I think we would all like to see a receiver that can stretch the defense.
Yes,
that's
what
really
a
what they need.
concept. Come on. What, you don't like Khalil Shakir's,
he's fine underneath.
2.1 ADOT?
Yeah, that's fine.
That was insane.
But you could see, again, I know Rashid Shaheed hasn't done a lot statistically, but the threat of what he can do deep changes that offense.
Oh,
so
for sure.
They need someone like that. Or we mentioned earlier, like a Alec Pierce, right? I mean, his
Alec
ability.
Pierce could be fun on that team.
Yeah, so you wonder if they did trade for Rashid Shaheed, would have that changed things for Buffalo?
I don't know if it would have been enough, but
Maybe not.
I mean, the addition of a deep threat, though, just you have to account for them. That's just a whole other part of it. You don't have to use them every time, but the idea that they're back there changes how these defenses look at your team. So we love Khalil Shakir, but Curtis Samuel, Josh Palmer, Keon Coleman, whatever's going to happen there. Let's get a new wide receiver.
Cooks.
Oh my gosh, stop! This is getting bad. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. FantasyLife.com is where you can go subscribe to our newsletter. We'll be here same time tomorrow.